Welcome to the Comic Binge. I am your host, Paul Herman, and today the Spider-Man Council returns as it should, because the Spider-Man Council is one of my favorite things to always come back to on the Comic Binge. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate everyone to go out there and do their thing. Go out there and just hit the subscribe button. It only makes sense, right? I mean, this is Spider-Man after all. It only makes spider sense and all that jazz and all that crap, But yes, go ahead and please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everyone already has. And again, it does mean a lot to us who already has and done all that good stuff. And yeah, today we've got a great show. We've got the crazy Spider-Man miniseries where we'll be talking about first time Miles Morales and Peter Parker meet in person. So got a great show today with a newcomer to the council. Technically newcomer. He was here recently, but he's back today for or today I should say. What am I talking about? I won't say any. I won't talk anymore. I'll just bring him on. Exalted Speed himself is back.
Hi.
Hello, Exalted. Yo. Good to have you back. I had a pretty fairly positive reaction when you came on. I had a blast. I know I could talk to you probably for hours about comic books. So I mean, there's no surprise there. But how are we doing today, sir?
I am doing well. I am ready to go, and I'm not going to talk about anything that's happening on my Twitter right now.
yeah. We don't want to talk. Yeah, your Twitter was very eventful today, or X, I should say, your X account. Very,
yes.
Very, very fun. So I'll leave it that. Yes, it's more Loon time. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So yeah, thanks for coming on. And I noticed you jammed these issues right before you came on today, correct?
I've read them before, but it's always good to remind yourself of what's happened with them, and to try and take some decent notes ahead of time, just because there's a couple things I noticed about it. The miniseries I'm going to say is good, and I'll talk about more details. There might be some flaws with it, but I don't think they're very obvious. So I'll talk about them in more detail.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, thanks for coming on again. I don't think this will be the last time either. We have you on because you're a good person to have on the show. I'll gladly admit that. I appreciate you coming on. So.
Yeah, if you can't tell, Spider-Man's like my favorite superhero, so I have a lot of opinions. So
Excellent. All right, right on. All right, well, thank you, Exalted. Next on the list on the council, the meeting, we have Pizza Time. Adam, how are we doing today, sir?
I'm all right.
Hanging in there, right on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, how true to the name are you with Pizza Time, by the way? How true is it?
What do you mean?
Like, how much pizza do you actually eat?
That's a good question.
Like, during the week, how many times do you eat?
Oh, during the week? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I pizza's probably like, I probably have it, I don't know, once or twice a month.
That's it?
Yeah.
Man, you're letting your pizza name down, bro. That's all I gotta say. So.
I mean, my mom makes it
That's tight.
every so often, so probably like I would say once a month or so my mom will make a pizza. So
Once a month?
yeah.
Bruh, that's crazy. Well, your mom needs to step it up. That's all I gotta say, right? So
I mean, pizza's not
I
something
said
like,
so.
I feel like pizza's not something like, you have all the time.
I usually. Me and my friends usually get together, and we usually have it once a week. So
All right, people in the chat, people in the comment section. How many times? Yeah, Exalted eats it once or twice a week. What about you all? How many times do you eat pizza? I don't eat it that much either, but I eat it more than once, twice a month. So anyway, just holler at me. And as always, Adam, it's always good to have you back on. So
Yeah.
you're part of the reg. You're the reg. You got this. Next on the council today, we've got Spidey Dude, Zach Joyner, AK. Do you ever go by Dusty anymore? You're muted.
I mean, my family still calls me Dusty. But yeah, I mean, I
remember that name. Is it a family thing? If I have to be family in order to be?
No, I answer to both, so it's fine. I answer to both. So
one day I'll have to Not now. I'll have to ask you how you got the name Dusty sometime, but not now.
It's not the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I can tell you that.
Okay, so it's not Dusty. Okay,
It's not Dusty Rhodes.
Fair enough. All right. Last but not least, El Corazon. See, I didn't say the before it this time. You'll be very, very proud of me. El Corazon himself, the man behind this episode, Mr. Javi Trujillo. How we doing today, Javi?
Good. I like to call Zach Dusty every now and then just to throw him off his game.
He does.
I know.
Because I remember being confused, like when he changed it on Facebook. I'm like, wait, does he go by Zach or does he go by Dusty? Like, because he was Dusty before, but now it says Zach, and now everyone's calling him Zach, and I'm confused. But
Yeah.
I made it because about 50% of like my feed is like people that I grew up with that knew me as Dusty, and then the other half my feed is people that know me via the internet that knew me as Zach. So that's why I have both names.
Yes, yeah. Eric's very impressed with your Dusty Rhodes impression, but yes, thank you for coming on. Sorry about the miscommunication there, Javi. I didn't mean to do that to you. Sorry.
I mean, I was just spending time with my family, who I haven't gotten.
You stop that! You don't put that on me, sir.
And we were having an X-Men movie debate, so you know.
Oh,
okay. All right. Really quick? What was it at the very end? What was the main debate?
Well, we just finished because we've been binging them leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine because the kids have seen them all. Well, other than Logan, but they've seen them all, but they don't remember them. So, like, I think this might be the first time Jack has watched The Last Stand since it came out, and that was 10 years ago. So, so this is like they've seen them, but this is like the first time again. So it was really interesting to like, because we just finished Days of Future Past tonight and the regular version. And it's been weird to see how they're
so what's the really quick? What's the debate? Yeah. What is it? What was the
I mean, we're just ranking is like the debate. Like Jack right now, Jack has First Class as his favorite. He doesn't know where he's going to put this one yet. But like after we did the original trilogy, like both kids loved The Last Stand the most. And I was like,
what?
You traitors. But you know, they don't have the baggage that I have with that movie, right? And Brooke loves that movie too, but she didn't like read the comics or go up. But now after some thought, like X2 surpassed Gary. X2 surpassed Last Stand for Jack, so now it fell down the rankings. So he's figuring his list out as we go. So it's been interesting. Although everyone I think is pretty much in agreement that X-Men Origins Wolverine is at the very bottom at this point. So
it's no argument there.
It's borderline unwatchable.
I feel like that's only true for the last third. I think the first 2/3 are okay and aren't really that offensive.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's the end that just tanks the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't matter because that timeline's gone now. And Deadpool even helped with that. So
since we're talking about X-Men real quick, I don't know.
And really quickly too.
Yes. What?
X-Men, yay!
I just wanted to say about X-Men really quick, because I don't know when I'll ever say that. This just popped in my mind. I remember in the first movie when Wolverine like claws Rogue, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was also like 10 years old when that movie came out.
I'm with you.
I was 23.
I like.
Wait. How old? Which movie? The first X-Men?
The first X-Men.
I was 13.
Actually, when was that? Was that 2001 or 2000?
2000.
I was like 9 then.
I was 12. I wasn't quite 13 yet.
I was 11. So
I'm the old man of the group.
Did
Paul freeze?
I think he might have.
I think he did. I guess we're just gonna have to spend time with the full. Okay.
He's back.
Paul's... Okay.
I'm back. Sorry, internet's going crazy.
Yeah.
So, and all right, really quickly, I missed out a little bit. My internet's going nuts here. Sorry about everyone. Appreciate your patience. X2 still an all-timer. There are some good things in X Man Last Stand. Nothing amazing in it, I would say, but it's not terrible. X-Men Origins Wolverine it's not great. Obviously, I think it's borderline unwatchable. Lev Schreiber is the only thing redeemable about that movie. Only thing, in my opinion. So, throw it out there. All right. So, Javi, am I sounding okay? Am I okay?
You're a little fuzzy, but you sound okay. Like your picture's fuzzy, but your audio's good. Audio's good.
But I'll take fuzzy picture over audio any day of the week. So, all right. So let's get into let's start the council meeting finally, officially. Javi, was it you or Pizza Time that wanted to do Spider-Man? Tell me.
I don't even remember. Now.
What was it? You?
I think I was the one who was like, well, I remember. I think Javi had my back because
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I always got your back, Adam. But yeah,
thank you. Well, no, I think I suggested just to kind of like round out our quote unquote ultimate trilogy, if you will, because we've done the first year Miles, we've done our favorite ultimate stories, you know, with Peter and Miles, and you had mentioned this going into No Way Home, and I figured, well, since this was part of basically Miles's first year, I don't know, we should maybe cover it.
And tying into with Spectacular Spider-Men being an ongoing title now.
That's came out a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I've
do we want to give our quick thoughts on that, like a sentence or two of how we feel about that? Because I think we've all read a couple of those issues.
I've read all the issues so far.
I've only read the first two. I haven't read the other issue, but okay. The council meetings are gonna. I'll allow it. Adam, right. You go first. Quick, one sentence.
I think it's good. I'm not totally a fan of Peter's voice is like hit and miss, but I think it's fairly solid.
Okay, all right, that's good. Exalted. What do you say? One sentence review of the new Spider-Man series.
It's probably going to read better once we have all the issues out.
Yes.
So far, it's Greg Weisman. He does set up. We need to follow through.
All right. I think that's fair. Javi, El Corazon, what say you?
It was a long time coming, and I don't think it's quite scratching the itch I was hoping for. But I am enjoying it.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay. All right. Zach, you're next. Go ahead. One sentence.
I will give I can have two. I'll give my further thoughts on the Spidey Dude experience, the Spectacular Spidey Dude experience, but I have enjoyed the series thoroughly. And I feel like that once all the pieces of this first arc come out, I think that the quality will oscillate. This last issue is probably the weakest of the three so far.
Okay. That's fair. And my quick thing is I've only read the first two issues. I've enjoyed it. I haven't loved it. It's been fine. So
sure.
And you know what, as an ongoing comic, if I'm enjoying it, it doesn't have to be the best thing ever. That's all that matters. So at this point, if I'm enjoying it, so it has to get eventually, to keep me wanting to buy the series, it has to kind of keep being that consistency and eventually kind of build up. But it's still early days, so we'll give the benefit of the doubt for now. So, all right, Spider-Man. this is a very interesting series in its sense that at this time we had no idea where this was going. Meaning, we had no idea where Miles was headed. We had no idea how thorough Marvel was going to be about Spider-Man and the Spider-Man characters like Miles and Peter, how much they're going to team up. You know, Spider-Verse movies and the Spider-Verse, you know, we're kind of in the Spider-Verse is kind of a lot around the corner, I would say, a little bit, like only a year or so, what, a couple of years?
Yeah, a year or two.
Yeah.
Year or two. And I say Spider-Verse meaning the Dan Slott comic version, not the movie version.
Oh yeah.
But the movie version is kind of where people are going to always go to it, and rightfully so, because they're phenomenal films.
Sure.
They go to.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I think one thing that as a Spider-Man fan, I've been buying Spider-Man regularly since, you know, I read Spider-Man regularly since I was a kid, but when I started buying them on a very, very regular basis in 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. I was very excited about this. And I was, you know, if you look back to other episodes of the Council, you'll hear me talk about how much I love those original year or so run on Bendis's Miles Morales series, where he reintroduces the character and whatnot. And I love this. And so I was very excited about this. And Sarah Pacelli's art's always kiss. It's always so good. And so I was really excited for this series. I'm curious, you know, quick, we'll do a 1-sentence review. You know, did you read this when this came out? I'll go to you, Exalted, quickly. Did you read this when it came out?
Yes, I did. At the time, I thought it was a solid miniseries and a very good evergreen Spider-Man. But upon looking back, it's very unbalanced. But it's very unbalanced in a unique way, and I'll get more into it when we discuss it.
Right on. That's good. I like that. Like a good little tease there. Zach, did you read this when it came out?
Yes. I was
okay. Did you?
Obviously,
you probably hated it then, I assume.
This miniseries?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Why do you assume I hated it because I was a part of Crawlspace at the time?
No. I was thinking you didn't like Miles. You said it first.
I didn't like the concept of Miles at first.
Okay.
But once I read the books and Bendis won me over time.
Okay.
By the time we got to here, I was legitimately excited about it.
Okay, so you bought this when it came out, or you read this when this came out and you liked it.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right, excellent. Pizza Time, did you read this when it came out?
I don't think I did. I think I've read like bits and pieces over the years. You know, the stuff that gets shared around a lot, like, oh, your costume's cooler than mine, and Nick Fury's white. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And you know, Mysterio is behind it all, and the switch, you know, which is interesting. And the meeting of the people, you know, the family and everything, and the oh god used as like a reaction meme thing, and yeah. So I don't have like I don't have like strong opinions of it from back in the day.
Back in the day, okay.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I don't know, Javi. I don't know what you thought of this book back in the day. I don't even think what you think of it now, to be honest. But back in the day, what was your take?
I didn't read it until I bought this hardcover. So, yeah, because I wasn't reading Spider-Man when this came out.
Okay,
like at all.
Oh, okay.
So, I got like the first 2 issues of Miles when they came out, and then that was kind of it. I just wasn't really buying Marvel at that point, and yeah, I got this in trade. I think I'd probably at that point caught up with the Miles stuff through digital, because I've got all the Ultimate stuff digitally. So
we an espresso. What is that supposed to mean, Mr. Tommy?
There's nothing wrong with being, you know, composed and, you know.
I am inquisitive. I am listening, Tommy.
I I'm a hopeless caffeine addict. So yes, give me it. Give me it now.
Tommy, I have to hold these people in control, sir. If I not instant go off the rails real quick, let me tell you, I know these people too well. I know everyone too well. All right, so but thank you for the constructive criticism. But trust me, I have to hold it back, or it's going to go insane. Yeah, this series was, to me, I think, it's kind of you said it best the other day, Adam, where it's like these issues just fly, and very much like when we reviewed the Ultimate Comic series when I binged 30 issues in the weekend.
Yeah,
and I'm not even joking. I didn't start reading because I was like, I'm just gonna start volume 1 of Ultimate by Benison Bagley, and I'm just gonna like see where it goes from there. I'm not gonna go overboard because I had no real ambition to read the series, and I enjoyed it enough and read it fast enough where I binged it through 30 issues in like, I'd say I think I started on a Saturday, and I watched football and read it throughout the whole rest of the day. It was great. And the best part is that yes, it can fly, but it was a pretty satisfying 7 or 30 issues, if you will, even though I read it so fast. And I think this is in me, every time I reread the series, I'm always pleasantly surprised how fast it goes, but how well I don't dislike it either. It's not perfect, I agree. But as we get into the meat of this, we can talk about what we like and don't like. Hello. You guys know this person very well. Hello, Walter.
What's up, Walter?
Walter, you're a very generous person right here. You're a good man. Just want to say that right off the bat.
Thank you.
But you know, the thing is, I think this series is very I don't know. I think it's very good. It's not perfect. It's very condensed, you know, or not condensed, but it's very brisk. It doesn't try to do too much.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like that's like it's the pro and the con of the whole thing is like, yeah, you can read it. I think I read the 5 issues like, you know, like that. That's good. I like doing that, like because I'm like, I like to prepare for these shows, and when there's a lot of issues, 'cause I feel like 5 issues is a lot, you know, depending on stuff, and it's like, I still haven't. I was like, I still haven't read this yet, so I started reading it yesterday, and I'm like, okay, this is flying by, good. I don't have to worry like that I'm gonna be like, you know, lagging behind or anything. But then it's like, man, this went by really fast, and it feels like not that nothing happened, but just like everything happened really quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Exalted.
Well, like I said, this was always even at the time I noticed it was a pretty quick read, and I always recommend it as a good, very evergreen title to give to people. Like I used to sell comic books, so this wasn't a bad recommendation to give to people because you know it's
real quick in the letters page they're like, oh, like we welcome you, like if you just know them from the movies, the cartoons, the video games, like here you go, here's this. Like this was definitely something to, you know, get newcomers on board, it seems.
Yeah, though I do think it fails in one aspect with the newcomerness. And I'm going to point out, it doesn't really give a good idea of Miles's life as Spider-Man by comparison to Peter's.
That's a good point.
And I always thought that was always a weakness of the story, was because a lot of people know Peter genuinely. Like, you know, Peter's a very well-known superhero. But if they don't know Miles, this would have been a good introduction for more newer people who wanted to see them interact together. And maybe we could bridge both and contrast them more in the story. And I feel like that should have been a major focus, especially because, you know, I feel like you can cut out the Ultimate showing up and just have more Peter and Miles interactions instead.
That Exalted, I'm gonna cut you off there only because that's a great point, and I think that the Ultimates is probably my least favorite aspect of it. I felt it was very much like, how can we incorporate more superheroes in this Whereas I agree with you that they could have been taken out. I don't know if they would have. You need to emphasize the family of Miles in this story necessarily, but at the same time, I do think that you're right on that. Like, they probably could have focused more on the relationship and getting for Miles and Peter to build, each other up a little bit more if you took out the Ultimates altogether. So I'm gonna throw it to Javi. Do you have anything you want to say about regarding like the pacing of the story? Would it go too fast, and also what resulted? It made a good point about the focusing on the family and less on the Ultimates, or maybe more on the relationship between Peter and Miles.
I come at it from a different perspective, and I was thinking about it when I was reading it this morning, because I read it as a hardcover, so I got through it really fast, and it, as a collected edition, it plays differently than if you were waiting month to month. And I feel like if I was reading it when it came out, it would probably feel really quick and unfulfilling. But reading it as a trade just made it feel like just the right amount. Like, it left me wanting more. It felt really fast, but there is something missing when you read Bendis issue by issue. I think he's writing for the trade, and it kind of shows, because some issues feel like nothing at all and others feel so monumental. But it's a weird story, because you and I talked about it this morning. Like, Bendis was writing the Miles book and he was writing this, and there's not a lot of consistency for where this should take place. If you're following along the publishing history, like, it doesn't quite add up, the story that Bendis is telling.
Well, it's right before he gets the web shooters.
Yeah,
that's what
but
he was saying earlier. Yeah,
he gets the web shooters from May, but when he shows up at the Parker house, like, they already know Miles because they had that meeting, and he vouches for Peter because they've had that meeting, so they trust Miles. So some of it coming from the same writer, it doesn't add up. But, and I hear what you guys are saying, and now that you pointed it out, it's like, oh yeah, there isn't that. Peter doesn't really get to know Miles's world. He doesn't get to meet, see how his parents are, and like what a Spider-Man is like when he has parents and friends. And
good point,
because it's all about Peter's reaction to the Ultimate Universe, which is a fan, that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see, how is Peter going to react to Gwen being alive, and how are they going to react to Brainy Jane being a supermodel, to say nothing of what their relationship status was at the time.
I think
go ahead, Zach.
The thing about this book, when it comes to Peter, is that it's the stranger in a strange land, and he's the anchor, which is kind of jarring because we've gotten used to Bendis writing Miles as the anchor in his own book. And I think that maybe had they kind of tweaked it, I don't hate this book, but I think that my criticisms of this book wouldn't be as high, because it's honestly poorly paced, issue by issue. It's well paced if you're reading it collectively.
Interesting. To
me,
go ahead.
The opening fight takes too long. It takes up almost the entirety of the first issue.
Wait, hold on. Time out. Was that, hold on. I didn't interrupt. You mean the fight between Mysterio and Spider-Man, or Miles and Spider-Man?
Miles and Spider-Man.
You're insane. That's a great part. I love that.
I just think it takes too much real estate, and they could have done less with more.
But this is a Marvel comic, though, Zach.
Yeah, Zach. What the heck, dude?
Like, heroes have to fight before they come to each other.
That part, it's a Marvel tradition. I get that, but at the same time, you could have cut it down 2 pages and had some more character work. But
that is the character work. I feel like the best thing about this book is basically Peter and Miles interacting, and then Peter meeting Aunt May and Gwen and Mary Jane. Sort of, I would say that's like the highlight.
All right, really quick. I'm gonna let Exalted speak. I want to interrupt real quick because you brought up some great points. Everyone, we're kind of dissecting this, and this is perfect. Okay, so here's what I'm getting at, and I think I like this series for the record. I think I recommend this series. But I'm from what Zach is saying and what Exalted's saying, I want to amalgam them. See what I did there, and put them together. Here, because I think I know what the main issue is. I agree. Ultimate should have been Get Out, right? Exalted's 100%. Zach's, I think, somewhat right. That here's what I would say, Zach. Leave the fight scenes in there, but just use that what you want with the Ultimates instead, but because I think the fight scenes are fun. Like that's what that's what we're here for. And I'm gonna throw it to Exalted because I know he's been itching to say something here, but I love the fight scenes. Exalted, comment on the fight scenes. Is it too long? And then what you wanted to say as well. Go ahead.
So to me, the fight scenes are perfectly fine. That's here's the thing. The main meat of the story is going to be Miles and Peter interacting. So cutting those out, no, that's the worst thing you could probably do in the story. That's like a selling point. I hate sounding like that in a corporate, but it is like what you sell people on at the comic. It's the main meat of it. But the Ultimate stuff, and the reason I point it out is that, especially because with Iron Man there and like the MCU ass costume he got. It's not a very good introduction to the Ultimate Universe in that way. And as much as and to be fair, I think they should be cut out because leave Nick Fury. I think Nick Fury is probably, since Nick Fury has an established relationship with Peter Parker and Miles, leave him. Yes. But the Ultimate stuff,
agreed.
But I just remembered you brought up a good point, Exalted.
Yeah,
this came out in 2012. So what movie just came out?
Oh yeah, no, I personally. Oh no, I know what movies just came out. I personally think that if you're going to have Ultimate Iron Man, he should look like Ultimate Iron Man.
Sure, but they made him not look like Ultimate Iron Man because
of the. Oh, I know the movie synergy. I'm just not a fan. That's all I'm saying.
For the record, I don't really like the Ultimates, like versions of the character, as far as the looks of the versions of the characters. Besides Thor's axe, I don't really like. I think Iron Man looks like bad. It's been a while.
You don't like the duckbill suit?
It does look weird, but it's so unique looking that it gives it a distinctive look. That you can tell with Ultimate Iron Man the moment you see that armor, as opposed to this armor, which looks so close to 616 Iron Man that it's like, hey, we're just, it's just a Tuesday in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And for the record, these came out, the release date was 6/13 of 2012. So just after Avengers hit screens. And this was twice. This was the first two issues came out in the month of June. The second issue came out in the month of July, and then it was kind of monthly from that point on. For some reason, they did double ship on the first two issues.
And everyone who saw Avengers making it the #1 movie flocked to the comic stores and picked up this title and read comics for the rest of their lives.
Javi, we did it. We did. We did it.
We
were accomplished.
I don't like this. I don't like this talk here. And Tommy,
that sarcasm is very hurtful.
Like I said, I was actually working in comic book stores when this miniseries came out, so I have that perspective too.
Oh, okay. But by the way, Tommy, is our energy picked up? I hope you realize this is what you get. You're starting to get lively here. So, okay. So, I think, to me, Javi, do you think is Zach on the money on this? Is the fight scene too long? Because I love the fight scene. I think it's great.
No, Zach's wrong. Sorry, bud.
Listen, I can take
Zach was wrong.
I mean, that's what the whole premise is. Spider-Men, like you want to see them interact, And this is like a weird time too, because the Spider-Man that I grew up with was like the loner. He didn't fit in with the Avengers, and the story of like Frogman trying to like buddy up to him. Like Spidey didn't do sidekicks, he didn't do teams. And now we're in this era of new Avengers, and he's man-child Spider-Man, which we get a dose of in the beginning, which I wasn't really fond of rereading at this time.
Yeah.
But
honestly, anytime I see those red and white thought captions, it's like, I don't know why. It's just like, oh, that's such a brand new day era thing.
Yeah. But the fun is seeing, these two guys cut it up, and him asking about, are you Spider Boy? And he's like, no. And it's just, that's what you want to see. Like, that's, the Flash meeting the Flash in the Flash of Two Worlds. That's the end of No Way Home. Like, you want to see these guys like have some character moments, but also go into action together, because it's a superhero comic. So having that traditional Marvel fight, to me, because I felt like they mixed in character with that dynamic a lot like the movie later did. So I mean, it worked for me.
So for those that are wondering too, around this time of what what was going on in Amazing, this was around the end of Ends of the Earth.
Oh God!
So we were in full blown Dan Slott era, early big time era.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Ends of the Earth. That's wait till we get to that in the symposium. That's all I gotta say. It's coming. It's coming.
I like the costume. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's it's better. Let's just say this. I've been. If you watch this plugging the Slot Symposium on our the Spidey Dude Network, and
you gotta tweet it out on the Comic Binge, man.
Life is crazy. That's all I gotta say. No, Slot Symposium. It's another sub series of ours that we're doing the whole Slot comic book Spider-Man run, including the miniseries too. And God bless us, yes, because I've been enjoying it. But I'll say this: the spoiler alert. I'm not looking forward to the Ends of the Earth. So I'll say that. I'm not looking forward to that one.
It's one of the main stories I always say. Dan Slott's a good Spider-Man writer. He's a bad Peter Parker writer.
We'll see. It's like I said, it's been a while since I've revisited Big Time, and I can't blame him for Brand New Day. So it's revisiting Big Time is gonna be very interesting for me, because I'll leave it there. So
honestly, we're just reading his stuff during the Brand New Day era. Honestly, makes the Brand New Day era a lot more bearable than having to read everybody else's shit. So
I think that's fair.
You can say Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah, I mean, him and Guggenheim were it. That's it.
yeah, Guggenheim has some good stuff too. So back to the series. I for one, I like the fight scenes. I thought they were all. I thought that was to be honest, I thought that was perfect. I guess my biggest criticism of it is probably the Mysterio thing goes by pretty quick. I would say that to me is probably my biggest criticism.
There's not a lot of time dedicated to it.
It's such a weird, unique plot point.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean the Mysterio of Ultimate is the 616 Marvel Universe Mysterio? That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. It's like, how did he figure this out?
Yeah,
to do it. Now he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but he doesn't do anything with it in his home universe. He doesn't really do anything with it in the Ultimate Universe because he's already dead. So it raises as many questions as it does answers. It actually doesn't give any answers.
Honestly,
I know
this miniseries is practically in its own universe, basically.
Well, and truth be told, it felt like he wrote this as a actual arc in Ultimate, and then they were like, "No, we're going to make this its separate thing."
Exalted. Go ahead.
That could be a possibility. I always thought one of Bendis's Bendis is often like a proponent of continuity doesn't matter, story matters, and that is true to some extent.
Yeah.
But oftentimes when I feel like a story makes you ask too many questions while you're reading it, that goes out the window a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because it just becomes too much of a distraction for you when even within its own story, the continuity gets wonky.
Okay, so really quickly, I have not read past 30 issues of Ultimate. Is this? I thought they never showed Mysterio in Ultimates besides this.
He was
or
in
Ultimate Spider-Man.
He's in the
Is this
back
him?
half. This is
Yeah.
he was in the
he's
back
in the
half. Yeah, he's in the back
Yeah.
half of Peter's run towards the
post-Monin, pre-death.
Yeah, right before his death. It was in that when Immerman left and they brought in LaFontaine or whatever.
Head.
The big head dude.
LaFuente.
Yeah.
LaFuente, excuse me. That it was that era when Peter was dating Gwen again for reasons.
Okay, so I had no idea. So that is interesting because I wondered, how does Mysterio like have access to another dimension?
Yeah.
Good question.
I was kind of like, I want to be like, well, is Mysterio really the guy to do this? But I think like yes and no. I looked at his Ditko issue. I went back to ASM 13 today because there's that whole he monologues Spider-Man like, oh, this is my plan to beat you, and he's smart and crafty. So I don't know. I guess it's plausible that he could have.
But like he comes off
like
like such a
dumbass here.
I think the only reason he's used, and this is my theory, is that Bendis wanted to play with Peter not believing it was another universe at first.
Yeah.
Because I think that was probably the idea there. But trying to jam in Mysterio and making him big without setup just ended up making it seem like, wait, where did Mysterio get this powerful? Like, how did we get here?
Well, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why it's Mysterio. It's so you can have the Spider-Men face off with both their rogues galleries and not have a big convoluted reason why the Sinister 66 are coming at them. It's because it's all Mysterio stuff.
Yeah.
The visual you can have having to construct the story for it, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Because also, the Green Goblin we get is not the ultimate Green Goblin. We don't get Hulk Venom Goblin.
Right.
Oh God. Well, okay. So here's what I'm going to say, and I almost feel I should turn in my Spider-Man Die Hard card because I haven't read the second sequel to this. I never read.
Well, I haven't either.
No, it's not as good. You don't get your card torn up for that, Paul. Sorry.
Paul, I'm going to say this: you're not missing a thing.
I know, but I feel like I have to because
Well, in about a year, we'll do it for the council.
There you go.
I'm willing to do it because, oh God, it's Bendis had a story. I just don't know what he was going for.
I have 2 points that I'll make about this series that nobody's made yet. Number one. This is the best artwork that Sarah Pichelli did because of Justin Ponsor. You cannot convince me otherwise. Ever since he passed away, her artwork has been significantly worse.
I don't think that's fair to her, but all right.
She just has not found, in my opinion, she's not found somebody that works with her artwork in terms of inking style as well as Justin Ponsor.
But she inks her stuff. Ponsor colored it. She inks her stuff.
No, he did the inks here.
No, he didn't. He did the colors.
I thought anyway, moving on.
Justin Ponsor.
Okay, well, I was wrong. So I retract that particular point. But this is one of the most important comic series for the existence of Spider-Verse. You cannot have Spider-Verse without this series. And that's why it's a seminal one. Not that it's this great series, but what it ends up spawning is so significant.
You could argue Spider-Verse is more an adaptation of this over what Dan Slott did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can't this in the ending of the 90s show to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really is, especially the second one. Don't tell that to John Semper, because he gets a little angry.
So here's what I'm we'll keep it to a short and sweet episode today. My question is this: we were talking about this isn't this is kind of turning into, we're talking about it, an important Spider-Man series, essentially, right? Like, I mean,
yes.
I mean, not just the fact that Spider-Man meets or Peter meets Miles for the first time, but like what it inspires later on. And I guess we'll go around the and again, when I go around the top, we can. I wouldn't say this is final thoughts per se, but just anything else we've missed you want to bring up. But I want you guys to answer this: is this like I want to be very careful how I say this. I wouldn't say this is a masterpiece, right? I'm not saying that, but would you consider this an important piece of Spider-Man history that you think is required for people to read? Not saying it's a masterpiece, but something they should probably read and import. Exalted, I'll go to you first.
I give it what I call an average evergreen rating, and to make sense of this, just like, because that sounds kind of weird. There are some graphic novels I feel like are evergreen you can give to new readers to kind of get them up to speed. You might not want to read this if you've been part of like the scene for years. But if you're relatively new to the fandom and new to Spider-Man, it's not a bad introduction to some things. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. It's good to give out. I would say that, I would say come to it eventually, but I would say read the Ditko issues over it. Like, it's not like essential super Spider-Man core ever. It's like, this is good to read, good to know about eventually. It's
right. I would say that's why I say, there's like, for instance, like, and Adam will know what I'm talking about with this. So bear with me, because there are music albums out there that I would never say are masterpieces, but are important for just, the I would say like moving the needle and influencing things down the line, even though I wouldn't say like, I would like, oh yeah, this is like something that everyone has to listen to, but it's still almost, if you're a part of Spider-Man history and that's something you're into, of like learning more about not learning, but like you want to, kind of have your teeth into like the important parts of Spider-Man history. I would say, in my opinion, this is an important part. It's not, I would never tell someone like, this is required reading for, Ditko or like, Michelini or Stern, et cetera, et cetera. But what I would say, it's, if you want, like, if someone's like, man, I want to like know, like, what are the important parts of Spider-Man's history? I'd say, well, this is definitely, I would say, this is required reading if you want to get involved in the history of Spider-Man, that idea, that's what I'm saying. If you want to comment on that.
It's a kind of fan that just knows the movies, because like this page right here, the reason why I selected it is because you have Peter meeting May, which we see in Into the Spider-Verse, because she's lost her Peter. But you also have the No Way Home rooftop scene of them coming to the realization about great power and great responsibility. Like, if you enjoyed those movies and you like, okay, I want to know more about Spider-Man, like, this is an easy, fun, light book to give to a novice and be like, here's some great character scenes that are similar to what you may have seen on the big screen.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to bring, if you're getting a top 10 list of just books that a casual fan should read and that should be like the highlights, this is probably number 10 on the list because of its impact outside of the comics. Yeah. And the one thing just specifically about the story, that last point I'll make, it does do a good job of giving closure to the May and Gwen characters. Like, they could have never appeared after this, and this would have been a good coda, because it gives May a closure that she never thought she would get with Peter. But yeah,
poor Mary Jane though.
Yeah, poor Mary Jane.
Yeah.
I do hate that. But outside of that, like, if you're giving a top 10, like, hey, these are like just the highlights, these aren't like the nitty gritty, you would have to include it just because of its impact outside in other mediums. So hopefully that's like me trying to distill what you're trying to say there, Paul. Is like,
absolutely, exactly.
Oh,
yeah. To me, it's an easy book. It's very, very new reader friendly. You can come in cold and kind of get caught up through context. So it does do a good job with that, and I think it does succeed in probably making people that may not have been interested in Miles read more Miles after this. And I think this was the book that I think helped usher in the acceptance of Miles far greater until we got the first Spider-Verse. And I think once that happened, I think it was all she wrote. There's anybody that still criticizes Miles as a character is either delusional or they're not paying attention.
Whoa, order. I don't want you to respond to this, because I think this, you have touched on you think that Miles is more accepted after this? I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure if I agree, disagree. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say absolutely right off the bat. I'm gonna have to throw this question out to the council and we'll wrap up here. But that's a heavy thing. I'm not sure if I agree or disagree. I don't know yet. Adam, what would you say to that real quick?
Don't
know.
I feel like Miles is more accepted now because of the movies, because the movies were so good.
But chicken or egg question. Without this, do you have the movies?
Well, I was going to say, like, this is definitely a foundation to Paul's previous question. This is like foundational stuff for the Into the Spider-Verse film. So I would say it's important in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah. Javi, do you think Miles is more accepted after the series because of the team up?
I think, to echo Zach, I think it's the first step.
Okay.
Because you get Peter as he's going, like, he gives his blessing to Miles. So it's not just, Miles feels that it's okay for him to do it, because we see that a lot in the first year of his book. And in this story where everyone's talking about dressing up as Spider-Man being disrespectful. Like, anytime Peter shows up, why are you wearing that? It's bad taste. So for the character, like, Miles feels that and it carries forward. And I think it starts to put that acceptance out there for fans and for readers that you can have two Spider-Men and the world isn't going to end. And that culminates into the Spider-Verse.
Really quick, I want to say something real quick. Because the thing is, it is a first step, and we all agree to that. My point is, just at that moment in time, do you think this was pivotal for the character of Miles as a character in the mainstream popularity? And this helped. I mean, I guess yes, in a sense, it definitely didn't boost his popularity, because it's two Spider-Man characters.
The problem is it's still an Ultimate book, and the Ultimate line is dying. So
you're also in the
I'm going to bring this. I'm going to bring this up because I feel like we are kind of missing the context of Ultimate at the time. And this is actually something we didn't mention during this entire podcast because we are Spider-Man focused. So, we're not talking about general Marvel stuff. This was also the real first ever, and honestly only good, I guess, at this point, Ultimate and 616 crossover.
I wanted to say, like, didn't they, like, way back, they were like, oh, Ultimate and 616 will never cross over.
Yes.
Joe Quesada made a comment that if they ever do it, they officially ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
So Marvel
now.
And to dovetail off your point, Exalted, this was also the same month that issue 11 of Miles's first series comes out. So you're still in the first year of Miles's run. And that's part of the reason I'm saying that. Is like, as
That's
this is coming out, you're finishing out that first year of Miles. He's still new. He's still different. And so now, like what Javi said, it's the first step in getting people to accept overall, because now you have the character of Peter endorsing Miles. And I just think that it really, I don't think we realized it at the time when it came out, but looking at it with the beauty of hindsight, I think it really does tailor that acceptance.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you're wrong. I just don't know if it helped or didn't help, because I feel like people had made up their minds at that point a lot.
Yeah. I think it maybe changed some minds, but there were people whose minds were already made up.
Yeah, I feel like but at the same time, I don't. Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard for me to say, but either way, this was a very fun thing to cover, because it's so quick and short. Like it's not a lot of subtext to it. I would say it was fun to kind of still look at and see and dissect it from a perspective like hindsight and when it came out. And I find this all very fascinating, to be honest. So I love where we're going here. I appreciate everyone who came on. Adam and Javi, thanks for suggesting this for the council meeting. Exalted, we'll kind of go through the rings here. Have your final say on the series and promote yourself as well. So, what's your final thoughts on this book, and where can people find all your shenanigans?
Well, I have my Twitter at Exalted Speed. It has an underscore between Exalted and Speed if you need to find me, but don't worry, a lot of people do anyway. But if I'm going to give this book a recommendation, it's a recommendation, because to me, any new reader friendly books are always good. And it's one of the better evergreen Spider-Man books we've had in years. One of the things about Marvel is people always criticize them for not having books that aren't part of runs. So this is this is probably one of the better ones to do it with. At the very least, it has good art and solid writing. So
there
you go.
Right on. Well, Exalted, I will definitely I will be hitting you up in the future for future episodes. So don't feel you heard the last of me. I'll be bothering you soon. So thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
All right, awesome. All right, Javi, final thoughts. Where do people find your shenanigans?
Well, you can find me all over the place. BatmanOnFilm.com, Ultimate Spidey Dude Experience, Up to Speed with Wally West, James Bond Dossier. You know the places. The Comic Binge, Nights Never Die. Slight detour June 11th when we go into Arkham Asylum and get committed to that story. And I really enjoy this book. It's not perfect, but it's fun, and I like seeing interactions like Peter meeting the ultimate versions of characters. And this is at a time when I was not reading Amazing Spider-Man for reasons, and I was finding my Spider-Man fix in the Ultimate Miles Morales book, and then later in Spider-Gwen. So this was like a fun way for me to reconnect to one of my childhood heroes and see him in a slightly different light. And I'm glad we talked about it. I feel like we could go another hour because there's so much more that we could just get into the nitty gritty with. But I think we did a good job tonight, just giving an overview and talking about it. So I'm glad we got to do this, guys. And this panel's for Zach.
And
because I love them.
Pizza Time, aka Adam. What final thoughts on where people find your shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. well enough. I agree that it's new reader friendly, and you know, people are always like, "Oh, what's a jumping on point?" Complaining about that. And it's like, here you go. Especially if you watch the movies or the video games or you know the cartoons, whatever. Like this is I'd say a pretty good, easy breezy Spidey story, and you get two of them. So, let's see. Ed Enchilada Legs on Twitter. Spidey Radio Network. We're doing Ultimate Spider-Man #5, Hickman and Kaketo's thing tomorrow, I believe. We got the Slot Symposium that just dropped. Paul's got a tweet about that on the Comic Binge, so he can get more views on it on his channel. So everyone go watch that now and watch us discuss. What did we discuss? Oh yeah, ASM 600, Doc Ock's Master Plan, Final Plan of Doc Ock. Yeah, there you go.
It was Mind on Fire, the Fantastic Four 2-parter, and ASM 600.
Zach, final thoughts, shenanigans.
Oh man! First of all, thank you for having me on. As always, I do appreciate you bringing me into the fold on the council, as always. But yeah, tomorrow night we will be talking Ultimate Spider-Man here on the Spidey Radio Network. And you'll see it here also on the Comic Binge as well, because we always simulcast the show. We have some more great stuff. Next week, we'll be talking Spectacular Spider-Men, and we'll just keep on rolling. We're going to, we got a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of momentum. You can find me over on YouTube at Spidey Radio Network. Find me on Facebook at Spidey Network, Instagram, and Threads, all there as well. And you can find me on X/Twitter at Spidey Dude Radio. So thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. Thank you. You're part of the council. You're only OG.
Listen, I'm not on every council episode, so I do miss talking to you, Paul. I need you back on ASM, sir.
Bro, listen. I had to turn down a podcast tomorrow. I felt really bad about it. So, you know, I felt.
Was it our podcast tomorrow that you felt bad about?
Probably not.
Oh,
no, but
one more thing. One more thing for Javi. New ASM Classics coming out on Friday.
Oh, hey, sweet! I've been waiting for that for a long time.
And I'm working on getting the RSS feed on YouTube, so you'll be able to find it on YouTube.
Well, that's good. Right on. All right. So yeah, thanks everyone who's already come and subscribe, like the video. Please go do so. Appreciate everyone who already has. Again, a little bit goes a long way, and all the support, all the new subs we've had a couple, last couple weeks from the Mad Max stuff. Thank you. Hope you like superhero comics because do a lot of that. But there's some. We have a big June planned, man. June's gonna be nuts. So get ready. Get your popcorn ready. So. Chris Cloud's in here. The Reverend's not here, but I'm gonna let Javi, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, go for it.
Read more comics.